Hello, I'm George, and I will talk about hoagieplan, my independent work project, advised by Robert Dondero. For context, academic planning at Princeton is hard. It takes dozens of hours of cross-checking websites and reading course descriptions and reviews to see what's the best fit for your schedule. There are current tools to help with that. One of them is tigerpath, in which you can search courses on the left, drag them into your semester schedule, and then on the right, you can see which requirements you satisfy for your major or degree. There's also Princeton courses, which helps you explore course listings. And also there's Recal, which is a semester planner. It helps you visualize your course schedule and also manage time conflicts. Students want an app to help them plan their minors, since tigerpath does not currently offer that. Also, students do not want to use multiple apps, since it is hard to coordinate between multiple apps, switch between tabs, and also for new students coming in, it is hard to know which app does what. The solution is hoagieplan, the all-in-one academic planner. It is a continuation of a COS398 project by me, Julia, EJ, Windsor, and Khan. It has the functionalities of tigerpath, Princeton courses, and Recal all in one app, and also it has functionality for minor requirement checking. For independent work, I'm developing the dashboard part of it, which integrates the functionalities of tigerpath and Princeton courses. Windsor is developing calendar, which updates Recal's features. Let's jump into a quick demo of the dashboard. Here I am on the dashboard. I can click on my account settings to select the major. My major is COS BSc, and also select some minors. I would select quantitative economics and philosophy. Now I can begin dragging courses into my schedule. Let's say I want to drag into my schedule a course that I took freshman fall. So I click on filters, then I click on fall 21. I search for econ courses, and I drag my course in. I can also remove the filter and then search for COS classes. Now, if I look on the right, I see that some requirements are satisfied, and others need courses to be settled into them. For example, COS393 can count towards the breadth requirement, or it can count as an upper-level departmental. I can click on it to settle it under the breadth requirement. I can also click on requirement titles to see which courses satisfy them, and if there is one, I can see an explanation. Core courses, for example, has an explanation. I can click the Search Courses button to populate my search results with the courses that satisfy a given requirement, and then I can drag them into my schedule. I will settle Econ 310 as my first core course for quantitative economics, and Econ 312 as my second core course. Also, for requirements that a student places out of, for example, second term math, they can mark the requirement as satisfied by clicking this button. That's it for the demo. So the new features for the dashboard, on top of the COS393 features, is the data for all majors and minors, the data for all the courses, cross listings for the courses, search filters, the button to search satisfying courses for requirement, the option to mark a requirement as satisfied, degree requirements checking, requirements for distribution areas and course counts, faster and more complex requirements checking code, and improved requirement models. So they're cleaner, and I also added HTML formatting for them. In terms of architecture, I'm using Next.js for the front end and Tailwind CSS for styling, and also SCSS for style sheets. And then for the backend, I'm using Django in Python and PostgreSQL for the database. I'm using Django because it is modern, used by top companies. It's easier to use than Flask, and also it has very powerful object relationship management features, such as migrations, which lets me sync my app with the database at any time, and also serialization, so that I can pass database data into nice Python dictionaries that then can be passed as JSONs to the front end and back. For the deployment, I use Heroku for the backend and Vercel from the front end. Some challenges that I have met with while doing this app was requirements data collection. So there are 37 majors and 38 minor programs, so it was 200 plus hours of work to get all the data manually. And also each department communicates requirements differently, and some of them are underspecified, so they're hard to communicate. A solution to that is a manual mark satisfied button, so that if hoagieplan checks the user's data wrong, then the user can manually mark the requirements as satisfied. And also, I created a special restrictions requirement, which gives you extra information about different restrictions that happen between the requirements. I also added editor's notes in some requirement explanations. Another challenge was checking requirements fast. A student can have degree, majors, and up to 3 minors, so there are over 50 requirements to check for each user. This is pretty slow by default, so what I did is I cached the partial states of each user requirements so they don't have to be all rechecked after each course is inserted into the semesters. And then I also prefetched degree, major, and minor data to minimize slow database transactions. I sent a feedback form when I released my app 2 days ago, and users seem to be pretty satisfied with the app. Also, they found the app to be pretty intuitive with some exceptions. Students told me that they want to plan their certificates as well as minors. And some students found data issues because the data fetching process was manual and very much not perfect. Some reflections I have is that it is better to complement other apps first before adding functionality that other apps already have. So for example, I should have implemented certificates planning before adding course information reviews, which Princeton Courses already has. Also, I found that an app is much less intuitive to a user compared to a developer. I also found that time is limited, so the best way to find which features to sacrifice is by talking to users. And I found that Princeton requirement tracking is intrinsically hard. So it is a very hard task to go and get all the manual data for the requirements yourself. It is good to have a dedicated team for that. For future work, I want to display requirement information more intuitively, so it is easier to use the app, implement the user guide on first login, implement certificates planning, as many users asked for, and also polish requirements data. Then I want to match the user experience and user interface to other Hoagie.io apps. Thank you so much for your time.